Okay. So my name is Miriam. I am a birth and postpartum doula. Although I don't know for how much longer I will be because I'm also in midwifery school and I've been wanting to just prioritize the births I'm doing at clinic. So I'm figuring things out. I'm also a lactation counselor. So I know you mentioned that earlier, Danny. Um, and I really love teaching prenatal nourishment because I think that, well, I know that a lot of us just we don't always know like what foods we need like for our bodies, let alone like pregnant bodies. Pregnant folks need a lot more like nutrition, a lot more protein, a lot more fat and carb um, than a person who isn't like growing a life in their body and like that baby is pulling nutrients and things from right from their parent, from the birthing person. So it's like really, really important that pregnant people are like, well, having access, right? Having access to good quality foods and nutritious foods and are eating like good quality nutritious foods. Um, Something that we see and like for me like in the clinical world that we see a lot is certain folks will like run into ailments like preeclampsia, run into gestational diabetes, hypertension, things like that. And there's actually a lot that like proper nourishment can kind of like reduce the chances of. And not that like I'm not blaming anybody for, whatever happens. But it's just really important to know that like there are ways to minimize risk and a lot of people don't have access to that information. So I'm really grateful that you all are here today. Um, and let me see the next slide. So this initially was like supposed to be for like a group of pregnant people. So that's why this is the icebreaker. But if you do happen to have like happen to want to share like your favorite food or like random like food pairings, like random cravings that you get, please feel free to share.
I'll say, okay, well, I don't know about favorite food pairings, but one of my favorite foods is oxtails.
Mhm. Yes, we love oxtails. Lots of yummy protein, a good like healthy fats, spices and seasonings, delectable. So good.
I will say right now I'm getting into some Mediterranean food, so hummuses and like sauces, mixed veggies, stuff like that. I'm on a kava
Mm.
binge right now, so that's my tea right now.
Yes.
I've been doing I'm on a blueberry kick right now. I've been eating a lot of blueberries for the last 5 months. For some reason they just taste extra delicious here recently. So I'm gonna go with blueberries.
Blueberries. Nice. And then I don't want to pronounce your name wrong. Is it Asia?
Yes, it's Asia.
Okay. Hi, Asia. We're all just we all introduced ourselves and now we're also just talking about like what are our like favorite foods as of late, random cravings that we've been having, things like that.
Okay, so my name is Asia. Right now I'm really into smoothies with like almond butter. That's like my kick. Um Peanut butter too, but I think I keep every time I try it with peanut butter or something else, I have like a cough. So I think I might be allergic to peanut butter, but yeah, smoothies.
Oh, oh, well, I mean, I love me a good smoothie, but I hope you're not allergic to to almonds and still eating it.
No, the almond butter is fine, but when I switch to like peanut butter and get peanuts a certain flavor, I'm up the whole night coughing. my throat feels closed. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, well, you know, I kind of get like that with walnuts and I still eat them. So I understand completely. Um, Sorry to stop sharing. I was trying to get back to the setting. Um, and because I wanted to let you know too, Asia, that this meeting is being recorded. So I don't know if you have a like, you know, if you don't want to be recorded or anything like that, but I'm just gonna add a comment in the chat and pin it because I don't want people to be caught off guard. Can I even pin a message? Or will I have to, do y'all know, or do I have to type it every time?
I don't see it in the chat.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I can. Okay, thanks. I got it. All right. So sorry about that. I just wanted everyone to know what was going on. And now let me resume the share. Okay. So why are we here? We want to understand like what makes a plate healthy and balanced for a pregnant person, and learning what a pregnant person needs like daily and how to pair specific foods to get optimal nutrition from them. And also creating a positive relationship with nurturing our bodies. You know, we live in a society that's just super fast paced and we got to get here and we got to get there, and social media, all this like overstimulation of things and comparing ourselves to people and this and that. And, you know, there's just so many things that get in the way of us just like being able to just tap in with ourselves and figure out what we need. We might go hours like just working, and then like neglecting ourselves and like not even realize that like, oh, wait a minute, I'm actually really like when I sit down, I'm starving. And where did this come from? So yeah, we'll talk about all these things today. Does anyone have any questions or anything they want to say? Okay. So even though like on the flyers it says like this is a prenatal nutrition class, I do like talk a little bit about like just like nourishment. I feel like it's a more holistic approach to like what I'm trying to do. And but I like highlight it as like a nutrition class because I feel like if I say a prenatal nourishment course, I don't know if people are going to really get what I'm trying to do. So, but who knows, if y'all think I should just say nourishment, then you know, let me know. But nourishment is the food or any kind of substance necessary for growth, health, and good condition. So just like getting a good night's sleep, getting a good night's rest, exercising, walking, moving our bodies. So for like pregnant folks, especially like some of the like best exercises are going to be like long walks. If their bodies are like okay to do it, some people are going to get more tired quickly and you know things like that, but walks, just walking for as much as they can. Swimming are really good exercise too because they get to just kind of float and be buoyant and not carry so much weight all the time, and it's really good for the joints. And doing like squats and lunges and diaphragmatic breathing and different things like that is really great. So yeah, is there anything that anyone wants to share about like what just like their self-care looks like or what they would like it to look like? I know I've been neglecting myself. I did like a really good face routine last night, but it's been like some like at least a week before I did my face routine. So no judgment at all. Oh my goodness.
So self-care for me, I like to do self-care on the weekends, either Saturday or Sunday. I try to prioritize it one day. And I try to refrain from drinking caffeine. Try to do some sort of a meditation. I do live in the forest, so I often try to do a hike or some type of exercise outdoors, and just really focus on humbling and grounding myself, because during the week you're just pulled so many directions that sometimes you just don't have time for that. So I try to focus on those things on the weekends for myself.
Yes. We all dedicating a day is actually a really good strategy. Or 2 days. You said the weekend, right? Yeah, that's
Yeah, if I can get 2 days in, I'll try. But I mean, if not, at least one day out of the weekend where I'm able just to dedicate time to myself and really try to balance my energy and my spirit, going into the next week. It seems to be working well for me here recently.
good. Well, I'm glad that like we all need our routines. Yes. Does anyone else want to share before I move to the next slide? Okay, don't be shy.
It's because I'm on my phone, y'all. Sorry. I think just doing stuff like this is kind of self-care for me because it's like this is something that I really am passionate about. So just being in spaces like this where I get to learn about birth work and like connect with community, I feel like that is a part of me doing some self-care because, you know, some folks, you know, you have the option to do something like this. So the fact that we're all sitting here today, I feel like that's an act of self-care.
Mhm. Thank you. Yes, we love a good safe space, huh? Yes.
Well, I would say self-care to me is being able to, work out at least 4 to 5 times a week. I feel like I have time to just relax and just, you know, get all that energy out, like maybe built up energy that I was feeling like from the day or from school. Like that's my way of relaxing. It might be the opposite
Yeah.
for other people, but it does sound a little weird, but I like to work out.
Yes. No, I love working out too. What's your poison? I love like because I be
Oh,
in the gym pushing weights.
yeah, that. And then I go cycling. I go to cycle
Oh,
bar. Yeah.
oh, okay, nice. Okay, I've been paddleboarding, so maybe different. You're on land and I'm on water, but I think almost the same. Yes. Okay, I love this. Thank you all for sharing. Okay, so this plate exercise, we don't have to do breakfast, lunch, and dinner. You could just pick like one meal today. And you don't even have to draw it out, but it's just kind of a good like visualizing kind of activity. But we can just like share together what like just pick one meal and like what you ate and try to think of like, okay, maybe half the plate was carb or half the plate was protein and had maybe like a fourth of like the plate was some vegetables or however way you did it.
Okay, so I'll go. I just ate my meal, so I'll talk about that one right now. Um, so I went to Cava, y'all. I had a veggie bowl, had some greens in there. They had the splendid greens, so it has like the kale and the romaine and all the things. I had some rice in there, some roasted veggies, which is like cabbage and Brussels sprouts and carrots, and then I had my hummuses, and then I had a lemon herb tahini. So that was really good. And that's what I had.
Ooh, okay. I could taste it. That's so good.
Real good. All the flavors.
Yes. Anyone else want to share?
I'll share breakfast. So I would say a fourth of the plate vegetables. I mean, not vegetables, fruit. Um, Another fourth, something like scrambled eggs, paired with some sort of protein, so like chicken sausage. And then maybe if I'm feeling hungry that day, half a bagel.
Okay. Nice. I like that breakfast. Yes.
I forgot to add half avocado.
Okay. We love a healthy fat. Yes. I just had me some gumbo with some rice. I had like chicken sausage, shrimp, crab. Might have had other things, but I don't remember. But and some rice with it. No vegetable, unfortunately. Maybe I don't know, maybe the seasonings or maybe it was cooked down with some vegetables, but no one I
It was there in spirit.
Yes. Okay, does anyone else want to share?
So I work in a hospital and we have a $5 salad bar. So I try to hit that up every day because it's pretty reasonable. Um, so I'll share my salad, which was mainly spring mix, and I would say mostly vegetables because I had like a lot of beets and carrots. So I don't know. I guess I would say maybe 60% veggies, 70% veggies. And then I had some fruit added in there and some chunks of turkey.
Ooh. Ooh, love me some turkey. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I oh yes. All right. Does anyone else? Is that everybody? Does anyone else?
I think Asia put hers in the chat.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Okay, Asia, you said that you had a protein, a carb, and a veggie today at lunch. Fabulous. Balance. Okay. So some questions here. What are you noticing is on your plate? And how do you feel when you eat the foods that you had on your plate? Do these foods give you energy? Is it the opposite? Um, and do you believe that there's anything you need to change?
So as far as my
These are
meals, I'm gonna just go. If it's quiet, I'm gonna talk. So, I think for me, as you can see, my meal has me energized, ready to go. I enjoyed my meal. I definitely feel like when I eat certain foods, I can either be like this or be in my bed ready to go to sleep. So, food for sure plays a role in how my energy is, and I'm definitely mindful that of like the foods that I'm eating, I'm trying to be at least. I definitely have my vices. I'm not perfect, but this meal that I just had right now, it was a good one. It was definitely good. I feel good. So yes, I definitely feel nourished.
Yes, love it.
I can go. Sorry, I'm multitasking, so that's why I'm using the chat. Um, so I'll be honest, I've had some like a lot of guilty pleasures because when you have the craving, you can't do nothing with that craving until you satisfy it. So I could eat 3 healthy meals to try to balance it out, but the craving always comes back and it seems like it's more intense. So today was a better day for me. I kind of started with grains this morning. Lunch was good. I did have ice cream in between today, but I went for the non-dairy ice cream, even though I had a lot of sugar. I went non-dairy, and then dinner I'm having again a protein and double veggies, no carbs this time. So I'm trying, but it's hard, y'all.
No, you're doing great. I feel like, clearly we all like we're doing our best, right? We're just like, look, like this is my best today. And that looks different each day. And sometimes like for me, sometimes I need me like some really like greasy fried foods. And like I feel amazing after. I'm like, oh yeah, I can go to the gym and lift this heavy weight off me, or I can, go do this 12-hour clinical today. Like I'll be fine. For whatever reason, it just, you just got to know your body and be like, okay, this actually really does work for me, or this really like doesn't, or, and all those kinds of things. So thank you all for sharing and being honest about cravings and things. Look, I love me a good little craving. Okay. So no judgment. Okay. And I'm not calling anybody out. Okay. When I talk about these things, I think that like y'all are doing really, really great. And we're just going to get some information today. So, some of the things that make a diet healthy, the number one on this list is an adequate diet. So like at the baseline, are you feeding yourself? Are you getting something in your system, right? Like just to have something for your body to utilize. And then number two, a balanced diet. So when I was like reading Asia's lunch out loud, and she was like, there's a protein, a carb, some veggies. So I was like, oh yeah, balanced, right? So I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later. Calorie control, not in terms of like, you need to be eating, like, don't eat any carbs, don't enjoy all the foods that you love. It's just more so like, we know for our bodies, like what is moderation and what's just like doing too much for our bodies, right? And then the last thing is going to be some variety, right? Is there some color on this plate? Does everything look a little different, or is everything the same color? And if everything's the same color, then maybe, and this isn't like true 100% of the time, but most of the time we're not getting everything we need if the whole plate is the same color. And then the components of a balanced diet, we want to have carbs. We could have like simple carbs, like a white rice, or a complex carb, like some brown rice, proteins, fats, and like vitamin rich foods and mineral rich foods. So like not too much processed stuff, and like fiber rich foods, and also water. Really, really important that we stay, especially talking about pregnant person, like to really stay hydrated and really on top of the water. I know of like moms that have like passed out from like just not drinking enough water. And that gets really scary, especially when you're pregnant and you know, and things like that. So if you're a doula, public health worker, whatever, support person, it's good to check in on your folks that are pregnant and being like, all right, did you get your water? Let me buy you those little 1/2-gallon water jugs, but make sure you use it, and that might be a fun thing to do, like with doula clients too, is like encouraging them to get those like 1/2 gallons or even the gallons, but those kind of get too heavy to lug around. Like the 1/2 gallons that have the little marker that's like, all right, 8 a.m. and, so that they're making sure they're really drinking all the water that they need. Okay. So ideally what a plate should look like, half of the plate would be like veggies, 1/4 of the plate would be like your protein, and then the other 1/4 of your plate would be your carb. And protein can be like, there's vegan options, right? Like soy, tofu, or like beans, chickpeas, lentils. And then there's also your meats, your seafood and things like that. And sometimes like when you're working with like pregnant folks, like some people are going to tell you like, I don't know what a protein is. So it's like important to like not just assume that people know, like, okay, if you tell them you need 1/4 of your plate to be protein and 1/4 to be carb, but they're like, I don't even know, like, what are all the things that are in the protein category? What are all the things in the carbs? So it's just important to like try and be as specific as possible with folks. And then, yeah, the veggies. A pregnant person needs like, honestly, even more than like 3 liters of water a day. Like ideally if they could get like a whole gallon in, like that would be ideal. Because they're with a pregnant person, they're like constantly using the bathroom, and like letting go of a lot of like water and nutrients throughout the day. And then they're growing this baby, and then they have these amniotic fluids that that they want to support and stuff like that. So having really like good hydration is like really, really important. And also it may help to like prevent UTIs in pregnancy, which is like super common because the hormones in pregnancy make the ureters like more relaxed. And so like urine can kind of be like stagnant in certain areas, and then like bacteria can collect. So if they're constantly drinking water, then they're constantly flushing out their systems more frequently. And that's really, really important. Especially, we know that there's areas where folks don't even have access to like clean water and things like that. So we really can look at how like not having access to things can really affect your pregnancy, because a UTI, you need antibiotics. If it's like a really minor, like you're starting to kind of get symptoms of a UTI, you can like do garlic and like D-mannose, which is from cranberries, to like try and flush it out your system, and probiotics. But like when it's like a full-blown UTI, like you need antibiotics. And if you don't have access to antibiotics, then it could just get worse, and then you can get septic, right? And so, which is like deadly. So it's just really important to think about like when we're talking about water and hydration, and like what are the populations that we're talking to when we talk about this thing. Do these populations have access to clean water, and things like that. So I've been like kind of working with like food justice a little bit more lately, so I like usually don't go this hard about it like in these presentations, but I feel called to today. And if you want to add anything, please feel free to. Does anyone have anything they want to add before I move on to the next slide? And I'll check the comments too, because I know I was in the chat. Okay, nothing's in the chat. All righty. So, right, carbs, I was saying roughly like 1/4 of the plate. And it also will depend on like, if does this person have blood sugar issues? Or they, have certain sensitivities to certain foods? But and then a lot of folks try to avoid carbs though, like thinking like, okay, well, if it's not good for our blood sugar, then like I just shouldn't eat it, period. But we do need carbs. They do play a really, really important role in like our own brain function. Like we need glucose for energy, like for our brains to fuel our bodies. So it is like really important that we are getting carbs and not trying to just take it off the plate completely. But also knowing like how to have it in like, just the right portion, like for you and your body. And when it comes to pregnancy, eating like too much excess of like carbs, anything that turns into sugar in the body, even too much fruit, right? Some folks will like eat a banana or an apple, and then their blood sugar is like through the roof, right? And like we love fruit. It's like, fruit is supposed to be healthy, right? But it is something that can spike blood sugars. So what you need to tell like pregnant people to do is like to pair their carbs or anything that turns to sugar like fruit, pair it with a protein. And when you pair it with protein, that helps to kind of balance out that blood sugar so you don't have too many spikes. And also we want to make sure that a pregnant person is eating consistently throughout their day, because if they're not eating, their blood sugar tanks, and then the body's trying to like use its own stores, and then you have these random spikes. So also not eating enough can lead to gestational diabetes in a pregnant person.
How many meals do you recommend somebody to eat? Like if
I
there's
would do like breakfast, snack, lunch, a snack, dinner, and like keeping snacks by the bedside. Um, I kind of feel like the one of the reasons why like we wake up to like just have to pee all throughout the night isn't just to like flush out our bladders. It's also because like we need to like make sure our blood sugars are like kind of like good and normal. And so it's like wait, our bodies are like waking up to also like eat something, like eat like and preferably like a protein at night. And also when it comes to like eating enough, especially for a person who's like, okay, I know I want to get pregnant in the next year. Let me start like eating the right things for my body and eating consistently and having a routine or doing meal prepping, like trying to build these habits before pregnancy makes it a lot easier to do like in pregnancy. Like a lot of folks that get the nausea, the morning sickness. I mean, there are like the hormones are responsible for this, but also people get more nauseous just because their blood sugars are tanking. So eating like having a snack like throughout the night to help stabilize your blood sugars, when you wake up, you won't be like starving and ready to throw up. So carb sources, right? We know like rice and like breads and things like that, but also like fruits are carbs because it turns to sugar. Sweet potatoes, things like that. I like to change up my carbs. Like I tend to eat a lot of like rice and bread, so sometimes I'll try to like eat like sweet potatoes and things like that. Does anyone want to share their favorite carbs, even if it's their guilty pleasure?
Brown rice lately for me. I've discovered how to add like a broth to it to make it more flavorful and seasonings.
Yes, actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because I don't have that in the slide, but definitely a way to like optimize nutrition. Like you can kind of find ways to like make just the simplest of meals like really nutritious. So like with rice, if you add instead of water, bone broth, and then now you have rice that has like all these good like minerals and like nutrients from the bone broth. So thank you for sharing that. So protein, pregnant person needs a minimum of like 60 to 80, but like ideally, like if they could get 100 grams of protein daily, that would be great. So for me, like with carbs, it's like, you know, we want to kind of like limit that because it turns into sugar. But with protein, like it is so essential for this growing baby that like I really don't put a cap on protein. So even though like the plate says like, you know, the veggies, it's really to kind of like emphasize like getting more veggies on the plate and like making it more balanced. But for a pregnant person specifically, I would like to see a plate that's like half protein and then like 1/4 veggies and 1/4 like the rice or the potato or like that like main carb. Um, and the reason being is one, right, we need proteins to repair and grow healthy cells. We're growing this baby, right? We need the proteins to help support like their growth, for them to have like good weight gain. When are in pregnancy, when your blood sugars like go up, when they spike, it also affects the baby's blood sugars. And so the baby can end up like getting to be to like a really large size and not in a healthy way. There are like big babies that are healthy because that's just the genetics. But if the baby is big because the pregnant person was just like eating a lot of things that are turning into sugar and causing these spikes, it's actually like really harmful for the baby because once they're out of the womb, then they can have blood sugar issues as well. So, and then eating enough protein, right, is actually like whenever we have folks that are like at the center that I'm apprenticing at, whenever we have folks that are like having like borderline, like going into, why can't I think right now, preeclampsia we'll like make sure that they're eating like lots of protein to help like there's a whole explanation, a lot of things, there's science and stuff, but like just know that like protein really helps to like minimize the risk for like preeclampsia, gestational like diabetes and things like that. And it also supports healthy weight gain in pregnancy. I know that there's a lot of folks that will get like really self-conscious about like, oh my God, I'm gaining like 50 or 60 pounds over like the course of like 9.5 months or so. And my training that I've gotten from like my midwives is like we don't don't even have scales in our clinic, because we really don't care. Like our emphasis is not about the weight gain, because you can gain 50 or 60 pounds and still be completely healthy and fine. So long as that weight gain is attributed to just having like more balanced meals and not because we're eating like, just like our cheat foods every single day of the week, then it's not a cheat food. It's a lifestyle. It's an everyday food, right? Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, I actually had a question. I see that you wrote minimum, right? 60 to 80, but what would you really recommend? Because I was listening to like a podcast about like prenatal nutrition, and they were saying how they will typically recommend a lower, like 60 grams, but really you should be shooting upward like to 100 range, or at least like in alignment with what your weight is. Your starting weight, I should say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I said like the minimum was 60 to 80, but like ideally 100. Like I would like for people's, like especially a pregnant person's plate, to be like half of that plate be protein, a whole bunch of whatever the protein is, tofu, chicken, steak, whatever it is. Like half of that plate be that protein, and then 1/4 be like the carb, and then the other fourth be the veggies.
And
So
would you
like the way that I had it earlier was kind of like old. So I do want to edit it because I'm more aligned with like a plate that has like half of it is protein, like, but just a lot of folks don't really eat veggies and things like that. So it kind of emphasizes the veggies because that's usually the hardest thing for people to get on their plate,
Mhm.
But yeah, but for me, like what I would tell like my clients is like this is the minimum, because it is hard for people to get this like every day, and people can be really hard on themselves. But ideally, if they could get like 100 grams a day, that would be great. Okay, so various protein sources. Again, we never want to assume that like when we say protein, people know what we mean by that. So chicken, beef, salmon, tuna, any kinds of fish, seafood, shrimp, eggs, and eggs is like a really, really great source of protein. Broths, right? Chicken broths, beef broths, fish broths, whatever you can make a broth. You can broth any kind of animal and bone. So like bone broths for me are like more ideal because it's just a little bit more nutrient dense, because the bones are like, slow cooked over like 24 hours or more. So you're really pulling all those good nutrients from it. Tempeh is great, tofu is great, shrimp, seafood, and nuts and seeds and hemp seeds and all those things too. Quinoa does have some protein, but it also is a carb. So like I wouldn't recommend a pregnant person just eats quinoa by itself. Like I would want them to eat, like if they're vegan, like have tofu with it, or some beans with it. And if they're not, then like any kind of meat or seafood, whatever they might eat.
Are you vegan, Miriam?
No, I used to be, and Agate can attest. Should I tell people that story? Because it is kind of embarrassing.
We can,
Basically, one chicken wing changed my life. She was like telling me about the like one of her like friends, like parents, like just makes like just great like what barbecue or something. Or you was just talking about how great this cooking was, and even though I was like vegan at the time, I was still very curious. I was like, you know what, like. So then I took one chicken wing and I put it in my oven and I ate that one chicken wing. I was like, I'm never going back. I'm never going to be vegan again. And then the next day we had Korean barbecue and I had beef bulgogi and it was a wrap after that.
She ate more of the meat than I did, child. But no, it like that. Sometimes, when you get called to do something, it just happens. Stuff be happening. So
But
welcome.
I
like
would
what
like
it was
to
it Asia
share.
that said it? Was it Asia that said it? The craving is the craving. Like I didn't eat meat for a year.
Yes.
And the craving is the craving. So when we're talking to
How
pregnant
long
folks
were you vegan
who like
before that?
deserve some craving, huh?
How long were you vegan before that?
I was only vegan for a year,
Oh, okay, okay. I don't feel that bad. Okay.
but
Well,
I
feel
would have
bad,
at that time I
but
would have been like, that was a
who
different
knows?
time of my life. But
And
but yeah,
so I've been vegetarian a few times in my life where I just like cut out all meat except for fish and just kind of stuck to fish and veggies and stuff. And the first time I went back to eating meat was Thanksgiving. My grandmother was cooking turkey, and everybody kept saying that the turkey tastes like ham. So I had to taste this turkey. I'm like, the turkey tastes like ham. I'm like, a piece of this turkey. So the vegetarian thing went out the window after that. And then I went back vegetarian a few years later. And the whole time I was vegetarian, I just wanted fried chicken. Like the craving was so strong, I could not deny it. And I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to fry up some wings. I'm back to eating meat. Like the fried chicken just calls you.
I just love how chicken is the unifying factor. I love it.
look, it's a universal delicacy.
It
Where do you
is.
go? You know, yes, so that happened. Clearly a lot of us are we reverts. I don't know what to call it, but anywho, our daily needs for fats. Ideally we would be getting like healthy fats from like fatty fish, like salmon. Flax seeds also have like lots of good like fatty acids. Avocado, I know. Leilani, you said you had half avocado this morning with your breakfast. So that's great. Coconut oil, wonderful. So the reason why we need fats is because like our body cannot our body cannot like create like these things on its own. Like we need to intake it in order for our body to like make it. And it helps us absorb vitamin A, D, and E, which are like those, more fatty kind of vitamins. And that's really important. It helps to support the development of the baby, especially when it comes to like the brains and the eyes. So, like, honestly, like a plate that has like a whole bunch of fat, like even if it's like salmon, some like avocado, and I don't know, whatever other like things like is great. It's wonderful. Like, especially for a pregnant person. I really try not to like put too much limit on what a pregnant person eats, honestly. Because I feel like, listen to your body. Okay. So benefits of a balanced diet. We'll see like healthy weight gain, right? Like I said, folks can like gain 60 pounds and it be totally fine and healthy. If it's like coming from, healthy foods and things, but if it's from like too much sugars and it's causing these imbalances in the body, then that's when it's like considered unhealthy. It helps to prevent fatigue and morning sickness and just overall nausea. Also, some folks might be like vitamin B deficient and like anemic, and that can make them nauseous too. It helps to support healthy weight gain and fat on the baby. It helps for folks to feel good and more energized, and it nourishes the baby's organs and their brain, especially their brain development. Oh, also some fiber sources. Oh, wait a minute. I should reorder how this goes. But fiber-rich foods, we have like our broccolis, our leafy greens, do kale, chard, collards, different kinds of beans and seeds, fruits like apples, avocados, even just like dark chocolates, almonds, right, various other fruits like strawberries. Oatmeal is also a great source of fiber. A lot of my breakfasts are just like quick breakfasts will be like eggs and oatmeal, and I feel like great and energized for the day. Okay, now we'll talk about kind of more so like the specific like nutrients and things like that. So when it comes to iron, and well, actually, before I even talk about it, why do folks don't read the slide yet? Why is it important to talk about iron when we talk about a pregnant person, especially like someone who's going to have to give birth to a baby and all the things that happen in labor and birth, that if anyone's familiar, have ever been to a birth or seen a birth or just heard about it, why would it be important to have good iron?
For blood, I mean, hemorrhaging, I would imagine it's good to like have that good iron in your system to help with blood supply.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So as you know, the further you get along your pregnancy, your blood volume increases by about 50%. So with that, you can kind of consider it of like being like your blood gets watered down. So we notice a lot in clinic, like folks that had like normal, healthy, like iron levels were like became anemic towards the end of their pregnancy. And so it is like really, really important that folks are like, if they're, especially if they don't eat like red meats and things like that, like you can get iron from like beans, lentils, but it's more absorbable from like red meats. So it is like good to like supplement, just in case, like, especially if you're like vegan and don't really eat like red meats and stuff like that. But so why is like also talking about blood important? Not only just because of the hemorrhaging, which is like top of the list, but also because our blood is what carries oxygen. And that's what's, the baby needs, that oxygen rich blood. They're getting everything that they're getting is through their cord, right? So they're just kind of like floating in this water and getting all their nutrients through their cord and getting their oxygen. They're not breathing underwater, and so they're getting their oxygen from their cord. Increased energy. So some folks, if they're like anemic, they can like get more depressed, more fatigued. And then it's just like the quality of life isn't as great and you're not able to enjoy pregnancy as much. Also, it makes postpartum healing even more challenging because folks already have a period of bleeding. And so like it's possible to like just bleed even more. It's possible to hemorrhage in the postpartum. So it's important to like check on folks, like not only when they have their baby, but also 2-3 weeks out and check in on folks and be like, hey, how's your bleeding? Hey, how have you been feeling? Have you been noticed like you've been getting dizzy, or if they tell you like, yeah, I've been really dizzy lately, or I just can't, like, if whenever I walk, I feel like I could barely breathe. And just like really urge them to check with their provider and check and like see what their hemoglobin levels are. And you know, just make sure that they catch that earlier on. Okay. Some iron sources, like I said, like beans, legumes, lentils, kidney beans, black beans, peas, tofu, red meats, especially organ meats. So like way back in the day, organ meats was like where it was at. Everyone was eating organ meats, and like the meats that we eat today, like the thigh, the breast, like people didn't really care for those like parts as much, and they would really eat like the whole part of the animal from the snout to the tail, right? And a lot of us don't really eat like that so much anymore, and so we don't get as much nutrients from the meats that we're eating. And so like beef, livers is actually really good for pregnant folks for like getting those irons up really quickly. Tuna, sardines, ham, eggs. There's herbs that help with the blood supply, like nettles and alfalfa. Dried apricots, figs, and raisins and prunes are great sources. Blackstrap molasses, that's a like Southern Black granny wisdom. Pumpkin seeds, pistachios, flax, sesame, our leafy greens, like our kales and our spinach. Yes. Why do I feel like some of these slides are... Okay, I don't know how my slides got out of order. I was like, this is not how it was before. So I have a bone to pick with Canva because I pay money every month. So I don't know what's going on here. But after the iron, I would talk about food pairings, because when we are trying to get our iron levels up, it's really important to avoid dairy-rich foods while eating iron-rich foods. So like basically like the calcium kind of like it kind of stops or like inhibits the absorption of iron in our bodies. So if a person is also taking supplements, it's important like that they like take the iron in the morning, because that's when our bodies is less inflamed, and so we're actually able to absorb the iron better. And then just do the calcium in like the afternoon or the evening, especially because we tell a lot of our pregnant folks to pair calcium and magnesium anyways, and it can help you like relax and sleep. So calcium, magnesium at night, wonderful. And in terms of like how to like get iron absorbed in the body a little bit better, you want to add vitamin C rich foods. So if you're having a bowl of lentils, squeeze some lime, chop up some bell peppers. If you're gonna get a burger from outside and you're like, well, you know, let's eat a burger because I want to get my iron levels up, let me eat some beef, don't get cheese on it, even though it does make it taste even better. But if you're worried about the iron, and sometimes what I like to do, and I've been able to get my iron levels up. I used to be anemic, and now I'm not anemic anymore. Like I would have one meal in my day that I would like dedicate to be my iron rich meal. And then my other meal, I could like eat my cheeses and all the things and not worry about it. So again, also when it comes to food pairings, to try to like minimize these like sudden spikes in blood sugars, eating your proteins first, and then your fats and your carbs is going to be like really helpful. And also just like trying to move around after. So you like, it says short walks after your meal, but sometimes you don't even want to leave the house. So just like doing the dishes, moving around, stuff like that is going to also help like just kind of like burn, utilize all the food that just got eaten, and utilize the sugars so that we don't see these spikes. Oh my gosh. My cats are tearing up my house. I don't know if you heard, one of them just made a big thud on the ground. So that's why I said, oh my God. careful, babies. So some meal, wait, actually, no, I missed one. I'll do, okay, yeah. So prenatal supplementation. Ideally, I would want folks to like focus on getting like all their nutrients from foods, but being pregnant and just living in the world we live in and not eating the same foods we once ate, we don't get all the vitamins and nutrients that we need. So just getting a good prenatal vitamin, Ritual is a good one, Garden of Life. There's tons and tons and tons of prenatal vitamins out there. If you could get one with the DHA, that's great. Or just get a DHA supplement on its own. An iron supplement, most of the time, like I know at my clinic, most of the time we'll just tell people to like take iron because it is gonna go down a little bit in pregnancy, just with the blood volume increasing. So just having an iron supplement does not hurt. Even taking some chlorophyll helps too. And it's good to have an iron supplement that has vitamin C too, because that vitamin C helps us absorb the iron. Vitamin D. A lot of folks are deficient in vitamin D actually. So
I have a question about vitamin D.
Mhm.
So, when I was at the health food store and I was looking at vitamin D, I noticed that there's quite a few choices of vitamin D. So, is it vitamin D2 that's best for pregnant women, or is it vitamin D3? Like, are there certain vitamin D supplements that should be avoided in pregnancy?
That's a good question. I need to do a little bit more research and then I can like email you all. Can you all add your emails in the chat and I'll just take a picture so then I can, if there's any questions that I can't answer right now, then I'll get back to you on that. I haven't heard of any vitamin D supplements that like should be like, I've never had anyone come in a clinic and be like, oh, this is my vitamin D supplement. And my midwife be like, oh no, don't take that one. That one's terrible. I mean, there might be some out there that like aren't like good quality, aren't like super clean and, just have a whole lot of like additives and all these things that aren't necessary in it. But also just, going and getting some sun, like that's a great way to, right, to get some vitamin D. So it doesn't have to just be on the supplementation. I know some people get like kind of weary about supplements. But it is like really, really important to like, right, not be deficient in anything, especially for a pregnant person. And then magnesium, it's really important. Also calcium, which isn't listed on here, but like calcium, magnesium is really, really important too, because right, we're growing a baby, they have bones. And so a lot of us can like get depleted and like have a lot of teeth issues. People's like, people like get a lot of cavities and stuff in pregnancy because of like the depletion of nutrients. So calcium, magnesium kind of help support like absorption in the body too. Help support each other, like taking them together helps to absorb it, and along with vitamin D as well, actually. I already said this, but again, the most beneficial way to get to get these nutrients is through food ideally, but if not, supplementation is also like really important so we make sure we're not missing anything. Okay, some meal day ideas. So I find that it's like just, oh, do you have a question?
Yeah. For folks that want to like up their protein, what do you have any specific protein powders maybe that you'd recommend for people that are pregnant? Or do you recommend, I mean, I know you just said to eat like foods or getting your nutrients from foods, but are there any like protein powders that folks
Yeah,
can?
there's like there's Orgain, that's a really good one. There's like some like collagen based ones that are really good. You know, preferably if they can get something that's like organic and just like, but also read the ingredients to make sure that it's like still like pretty like clean and not too many other things that you don't even know what's in there. A protein supplement that I have is called Naked Mass. And that one is like a high calorie kind of like protein supplement. And I feel like that's really good for folks who like, let's say they really struggle with like eating breakfast in the morning. So just having a protein supplement that's like 600 calories is like great for a pregnant person.
Okay, thank you.
Excuse me, buddy. I'm teaching a class. Thank you. Okay. So my cat's learning about prenatal nutrition. Some meal day ideas for breakfast, right? Some oatmeal, some eggs, some potatoes, greens, grits, salmon croquette. My favorite breakfast is like some salmon croquettes, some grits. Every time, and some greens. Every time. I put yesterday's dinner in there just because, you know, like you just want some leftovers from the night before, and that's totally fine. We don't have to be super picky. At the end of the day, like I said, like one of the first things of a balanced diet is just an adequate diet. Just like when it comes to pregnant folks, just eating something is going to be better than nothing, right? And then we can kind of help advise and tailor things as we go along. And it's okay to have a day where like, okay, I didn't do too great that day, but like, let me try to like get all my protein in the next day. Snacks. So I was saying earlier, I got it when you asked me like how I would want a pregnant person to eat: breakfast, snack, lunch, snack, dinner, and then have some snacks by the bedside. So like snacks, like preferably like protein snacks, like a Greek yogurt, some hummus, protein smoothie, bell peppers with your hummus, and stuff like that, or like some cheese with some crackers, or cheese with some grapes or strawberries. Lunch could be chicken, rice, tofu, Brussels sprouts, soups, like whatever you want to do. I find with pregnant folks, you know, sometimes it's like, I don't know what I want to eat. Try and just give them some ideas. Be like, okay, here's some ideas. Do you want some soup? Do you want some stew? Do you want some rice and chicken? What sounds good? You know, because when you're pregnant, there's a lot of hormones and things, and we can get brain fog. So honestly, a great thing to do too is like cooking for your pregnant friends, like, or if you're a doula client, cooking for your doula clients is like such a great service to add. It's such a great bonding experience too if you like cook in their home, and you know, just watch them enjoy the delicious food that you made. But yeah, so I think you all get the gist of like the meals and stuff like that. Some food prep tips, and I would also love any other ideas that y'all have. Sometimes I like to like get a rotisserie chicken. That's the easy way for me to get my protein, my chicken. It's in the fridge. I take it out. I might make some shredded tacos. I might just take a leg, you know, take a wing, whatever. Make a chicken salad, right? You can do so much, and it's already made. And it's just wonderful using crock pots or instant pots, so you can make big meals and have leftovers, especially for like broths and stews and things. If you pre-cut food items, so sometimes like, or you can buy pre-cut food items, but sometimes I'll just like chop up like the stuff of like, okay, I know I'm gonna make whatever vegetable tomorrow. Let me just chop it up. Let me chop up all the onions and everything. Why not just make a big batch? Because I know I'm gonna be cooking everything with onions anyways. So inviting friends and family to cook with you, organizing meal trains. I think meal trains are great. And that's just kind of like a whole bunch of friends coming together and being like, all right, so I'm going to cover like Monday meals, or I'm going to cover this whole week of meals, and then you'll do this next week and you'll do this other week, you know, stuff like that. Does anyone else have any ideas?
Well, I know that Sprouts, like if you guys have Sprouts near you, they have like pre-seasoned meals that you can just pop in the oven and it gives you the exact directions on, how to cook it in the oven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just buying like pre-made, like those frozen meals, that's great. Saves a lot of time. I got to think about what you want to make, what are all the ingredients. Oh man, I don't have any garlic. What am I going to make since I don't have the garlic? Like, different things like that. So that's definitely a great one. I don't know why I didn't think about that and add it to the list, but thank you. Also, I asked one of my midwives about the vitamin D, and also like you could get like I like didn't add this like like a cod liver oil, from or like fermented like liver oils is actually like better. Um that's a good source of vitamin D. So I need to add that to the list. And then she also said it would be like a vitamin D3 supplement. And also, which reminds me, I remember I was trying to do this thing where I was like healing my cavities, and for some people it worked for them and some it hasn't, but basically you would like take vitamin D3, vitamin K2, because the vitamin and your calcium and like your magnesium, and like the vitamin K2 makes it so that the calcium goes to like our bones and not like our arteries or something like that. So yeah, even like just getting, if you're going to be taking like the calcium, like getting a vitamin D3 and a K2. So hopefully does that answer, was it Danny that asked me that?
Yes, that answers my question. Yes.
Okay. Okay. And I didn't check to see if you all already shared your emails. Okay, yeah. I'll make sure to copy those down. Yes. So still, just in case if you have any questions, feel free. I don't know if you all have my social media. How did you all hear about this? Was it through Instagram? Through the
I
Um,
think
through the
I found
flyer
out
I made?
about it through Instagram, connected to another page. You were featured on another page and I found it.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw it on
Okay.
the California Black Women's Health page, I think. Their
Oh,
story.
That's the page. Yeah.
that's the wait, who said yeah, that's the page?
Yeah,
Was that
that's the
Danny?
page that I found you on to the California Black, was it birth workers?
Black Women's Health wait. Oh, I mean, maybe you saw it on another Instagram. That might be another one too, but there's the ones that sponsor this are the California Black Women's Health project. Oh my God, what does that P stand for? I'm a mess. Um, but yes, I mean, we are coming to an end. That's why like kind of like cooling off right now. But someone messaged a chat. Oh, okay, I said Instagram. Yeah, I was gonna say like feel free to like reach out and like if there's like any other questions that come up. I love when people ask me questions because that forces me to like do even more research and like question like what I already know. It's like, okay, I thought I knew something, but I guess I don't know everything. So I appreciate all the questions, and that just helps me like, teach better. And then for the next person, they'll get even more information. So don't be shy to ask any questions. And I'm a midwifery student, so I need to know all of these things and be able to like really explain everything. So all the questions really, really help.
I have one quick question for those of us like when you're ready to go to the prenatal appointments and you're taking that glucose test. Is there anything we should eat or should I know we shouldn't eat a lot of sugary
foods, but should we eat or not eat the day of that test?
Well, so there's honestly, depending on where you go, they might give you like different options for testing. And you can always decline a test, just so you know. Don't ever feel like forced. Is it like good information to know? Like, yeah, we want to know what your blood sugars are doing, but like there's also other ways to get that information without it having to be through the glucose test. And there's different types of glucose tests. There's one where you eat a very specific meal that has like a specific amount of protein, a whole bunch of like carbs, like rice and fruit and veggie. And there's like the fasting one, but there's like research that says that with like the fasting one, it kind of isn't like you have more false positives with that test. So it just isn't the most accurate to be like, especially as a pregnant person that's just burning more calories and like needs more food, to like not eat for a certain period of time to then take a whole bunch of sugar. So your blood sugar is already crashing, and then it's gonna spike on its own because it needs to kind of jumpstart itself. But then you add the sugar, and then your body's just really like, whoa, what's going on? And then you have to take the 3-hour glucose test, which isn't fun. And then you pass it and you're like, so I don't even have gestational diabetes. Like, what is going on here? And so it's just a lot. It's just a lot. So other ways that you can do it, right? I said there's the ones where you eat. I know my midwife offers that at a different clinic I was at. They didn't offer the one where you eat. It's called a postprandial glucose test. And then also you can get a glucometer. So that's when you do it's like a little tiny prick that you give yourself, and you do that 1 to 2 hours after you eat, whatever you eat, even if it's a snack, even if you're just like, okay, let me eat this banana and then check my glucose levels 1 to 2 hours after and just see like how my body responds to a banana. Is my levels too high or too low? And stuff like that. So yeah, one of the things we say like at the birth center is like protein, protein, protein. Eat so much protein. Don't not eat protein. Eat protein till you're sick of it. Like,
I don't know if
yeah,
you've
it's just
also heard of the jelly bean. Some people do the jelly beans, like you eat so many jelly beans, and it's supposed to equal out to so much sugar, and then they do their glucose test that way. There was another midwife who did like a smoothie that was like loaded with sugar for a glucose test. But definitely if you're profiling, you have to profile for a certain amount of time, right? Like a week or two, if you're checking your blood sugars after each meal, or how,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, you're doing it for like a week. Because we just want to see like, okay, could that number like, maybe that was just an off day for us, or maybe we like shouldn't have skipped a meal and should have more protein in my previous meal, or just whatever. But yeah, if you would use the glucometer, it would be like over the course of a week or so. And then like we would ask for like a log of what are all the things you ate, what were your sugar readings, and we would review it, and then we could like make further recommendations like, okay, you're eating too much sweets or not enough like we like that you're eating like 2 eggs for breakfast, but we want you to eat like 3 or 4 eggs and see how your body responds.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, see, this slide was supposed to be way before. I know y'all wouldn't know if I didn't say anything, so I'm just opening my big mouth, but I'm like, this is not what I was giving. So I'm like not happy that my slides are all discombobulated. But so I'll just go through this really quickly. Some of the risks of just, right, not eating enough, not getting right, all the food that you need, eating your protein, your carbs, balancing everything out is one, just the simple fact that you're not getting all the nutrients you need in the day. Our body's doing so much. We're running around, we're doing this, we're doing that. Like, we don't even realize how much fuel our body is burning until we sit down and we're like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. I didn't realize I was whooped. I am starving. Feeling depleted and fatigued, feeling depressed. I know a mom who, like, she was like super, super anemic, and she wasn't really eating enough. And so, like, we talked about food, and she, like, just off of like just eating what she needed to eat throughout the day, like, her moods were like great, and now she wanted to socialize. So it's really amazing what just giving your body what it needs will do. And sometimes we're like running on fumes so often we don't even realize how energetic and how bubbly or whatever we can be. It's also like compromises our immunity. We can get more sick because we're not getting the nutrients that we need. Also getting constipated because our body's like, when are we going to eat again? Are we going to get what we need? Let's hold on to everything we got. It can cause for dizziness and fainting, hair loss, brittle nails, and even like teeth. Losing our teeth in pregnancy and postpartum, making us more at risk for infections, and possibly having a baby that's just like too small for where they should be at gestationally. Okay, so that was mine. Okay, so different food sources. I love finding like different community gardens. I'll go on Instagram and type in like community garden, just see what comes up, see what's like local for me. If you're like a birth worker or just someone in like the public health, like, it's good to know like what's around you, and right, what do we have access to, so that when we're going into the community, we're like, okay, we have this, we have that, these are the resources that I can share with you. Knowing even like some food pantries. I know a lot of them get like shut down really quickly too, but there's like, if you go on Instagram and right, type in like food pantries and try to find some in your area. Encouraging folks to like, okay, get on EBT, get on Wix, no shame. Let's get this free food. Let's get what we need. Asking like friends and family to pitch in. So like a lot of folks in like pregnancy and in the postpartum don't always know what to ask for. And so just asking folks to like, can you just cook for me? Can you set up a meal plan service for me, especially in the postpartum? That'll be really, really helpful. Doulas that bring meals. One of my friends, her name is Taylor, and she's a doula and a chef. So she makes really great meals for folks and does like meal preps. And just really any community resource. You can even grow a garden. I have a little garden in my backyard, and I try to give away as much stuff as I can. So you just do what you can and get connected with what you can. Oh, wait, let me go back. One of the books that's like really good for pregnancy and food is Real Food for Pregnancy, by Lily Nichols. And she also has a book about like real food for gestational diabetes. So that's like really good. And let me see. Yep, that's that. Does anybody want to share? It doesn't even have to be these questions here, just like anything, like, did y'all learn something new, or what was one of the more like important pieces of information that you got today? I'm gonna take down everyone's emails too.
I would say I definitely learned the importance of protein. I did not know that protein played such a pivotal role in pregnancy health. Like, I knew that it was important, but I didn't know the extent to which it can be useful to a pregnant person. So I'm definitely going to be a protein warrior moving forward for all future parents that I come across, and just advocate for them to
increase their protein intake and just increase my own personal protein intake, even with me not being a birthing person. But yeah, protein, protein, protein. That's what I took from this. I was a big.
I have done my job as a midwife. Please go back to my preceptor and tell her that you said that. Thank you. I feel very informed. I feel seen. Thank you, Agade. Anybody else before we close?
Well, for me, it was the importance of iron and just you touching on how if you're iron deficient, it can be harder for you to heal, the possibility of hemorrhaging. And so, yeah, as someone who's been iron deficient before, I think those tips were very useful.
Thank you. Yeah, honestly, like since being a birth worker, I've become so much more healthy because I'm like, all right, I'm telling y'all to do this thing, but what am I doing? If I'm working all day and I'm making excuses and being like, well, yeah, I didn't get to eat today because I was so busy. And then a pregnant person tells me that, and I'm just like, no, but you need to. And then I kind of get to being a hypocrite. And then that's when I got to reassess some things and be like, all right, like I'm telling you to do one thing, but I'm not even upholding myself to that standard. Like, let me get it together. Yeah, so it's I've been a lot healthier being a birth worker, and especially like being in midwifery school and running all these labs and being like, oh my goodness, like so much can happen if you just don't even know what to eat and how to take care of your body.
I was gonna say for someone like me, like or just a birth worker, just any person in general, are there any like specific things that you will request labs for? Like just if you want to be more health conscious, like what is something that you can request from your provider? Like I want to get my lab work done, but then it's like, what lab work do I get done? What would you recommend?
Mm-hmm. So doing like a complete blood count, and that gets you like your hemoglobin levels and like different other like readings of like your blood and your platelets and like just everything that's going on. Um, uh, which is usually like standard like care of practice, but like sometimes I see in like a lot of like the obstetric settings, like OB-GYN settings, like they won't always read your results to you. So it is really important, like whatever test you get to like, okay, what were my results? Like I need to know what these results are. Especially because like when it comes to like getting care from an OB-GYN and like birthing at the hospital, right? If you're like borderline anemic, but not just there, and your provider might not say anything or be like, oh, this is a concern, because like they can easily get you in the OR. They can easily like they have like blood bank, so you can easily get a blood transfusion and like stuff like that. So that prevented the aspect of I cannot talk, preventative care doesn't really happen, because they're like, well, if a problem happens, we can fix it. But in midwifery care, in order for you to be in the get out of hospital birth, like you have to be at a certain level of like healthy and normal and low risk. So we do everything we can to keep you healthy and talk about nutrition and all the things, so that like hopefully you won't even have to get all those other interventions just by getting what you needed.
If you don't mind me speaking, you could also ask your provider to draw a vitamin D to see
Oh yeah,
what your
but
vitamin
you
D
know what?
levels are.
I didn't even finish answering that question. I'm so sorry, because so CBC, vitamin D, I would do calcium too, just to have an idea. Because even if it's like there's always gonna be ranges like this to this, and it could be like 5 to 15, and you might be on like 6, and it's like, okay, well, let me just supplement, because I know that I'm growing a baby and they're taking it from me, so I could easily dip. My numbers could easily dip since they're already like borderline.
Mhm.
A metabolic panel too is really good. So we have an idea of like, what are your liver and kidneys doing? And that's kind of how we kind of screen for like preeclampsia and other like liver related stuff.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
I just recently took a lactation course, and they spoke really heavily on how important calcium is for pregnant women and postpartum women, that we just use so much more calcium in pregnancy and postpartum. And you touched on that too today. And that was like, for me, I don't know why, but that was like new information for me. I didn't realize that we need additional, like more calcium than normal in pregnancy and postpartum, even to help with lactation. So thank you for that information.
Yeah, thank you for that reminder too, because with lactation, you are, right, well, first of all, you're up so many hours all throughout the day, all throughout the night. So like your body, it takes longer for your body to heal and recover, because when we sleep is when our body is healing and recovering. And so we just get depleted so much quicker, and all these nutrients are going to our beautiful baby, but we also need to make sure that we're getting the nutrients as well, because we burn like 1,000 calories a day breastfeeding. We're running through nutrients, we're running through our food. And that's also why healthy weight gain in pregnancy is so important, because like those little stores of fat that we have, we're going to need that in the postpartum.
I do have
So
a question for you though.
Mhm.
So, well, one thing to think about, I mean, I guess we're just talking about the basics of nutrition, but like for me, in pregnancy, I'm lactose intolerant. And so I was really stressed out in the beginning of my pregnancy about being lactose intolerant and not eating the proper amount of dairy to get, you know, the nutrients from that. And so, um, I ended up taking a vitamin D supplement, but like, what can someone who's lactose intolerant do to make up for not being able to consume? Like, I couldn't eat yogurt, no cheese, no nothing. And like, cheese was my go-to source for a protein, like that protein snack, because you know, a cheese stick, you can't beat it, you know. But I'm lactose intolerant and it hurts my tummy. So like, what can I do for those quick little protein snacks? I guess you covered it for types of protein. So, but also the vitamin D, you know.
Yeah, I mean, vitamin D, it would just have to be through supplementation, and like trying to get some sunshine, because it's not like something that our bodies just like can just like make. Like we have to go get the sun and like supplement, or like eat like the cod liver oils, fermented liver oils, and like stuff like that to get the vitamin D. Yeah, and with protein, really anything. I don't know, cheese is great, but nuts, nuts and things like that.
But you said our best sources are organ meats, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I was just thinking of snacks, but if you want a liver pate as a snack,
Okay.
feel free. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you all so much.
So much.
And I'll like email you all so we could like stay in touch. And yeah, feel free to like reach out, message me. I'm happy to answer questions anytime.
Did you still want me to stay behind a little bit to kind of touch base, Miriam, or would you rather me email you?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I forgot to stop recording too. Okay, yeah. If you're ready to go, feel free to go. This is the end. Thank you all very much. I'm gonna stop recording it.